Not every success starts off as what you might describe as a conventionally good idea. I mean, sure, it might seem like a good idea from the perspective of the person who came up with it, but more often than not, the person is met with a healthy amount of criticism. They're told that their idea isn't worth pursuing, that they're destined to fail. But the funny thing is that the only definable difference between a good idea and a terrible one is the way it turns out in the end. Welcome to one of those questionable, highly criticized decisions. Today, we're on International Drive, also known as iDrive. This is an iconic thoroughfare that offers visitors attractions, dining, entertainment, shopping, and so much more. Now, odds are, if you've visited the theme parks here in Central Florida, especially Universal, you may have heard of iDrive, and you might even be familiar with it. After all, it is a hub of tourism in the area. And while it might not necessarily be everyone's cup of tea, there is quite a bit to do here on this 11.1-mile stretch of road. Whether it's fun you're looking for, if you want to find something fun to do, maybe find a place to grab a bite to eat, or maybe you're looking for accommodations. There's quite a bit of that here on International Drive as well. But before we get into it, we need to take a look back, talk a little bit about the history of this area, because I think it's kind of interesting and worth talking about. The story of how International Drive would come to be started back in the 1960s. 1968 to be exact. Just a few years after Disney officially announced plans to build Walt Disney World, an attorney from Orlando bought 10 acres of land near I-4 between the planned location for Walt Disney World and Orlando. His name was Finley Hamilton, and his plan was to open a hotel, the Hilton Inn South. This idea of his was met with a lot of criticism, being that his chosen location was considered the boondocks. But Hamilton knew what he wanted, and in 1970 he opened his hotel, the only hotel between downtown Orlando and the future site of Disney World at the time. For Hamilton, this spot, just off I-4, was the perfect choice because he knew that travelers making their way to what would eventually be Walt Disney World would see his hotel from the highway, and that might have them thinking it was an ideal place to stop. But proximity wasn't the only thing he had going for him. Even the name, International Drive, was meant to draw people in because it sounds big and important. Today, having expanded both north and south, iDrive has become a hub for tourism here in the Orlando area, with a lot of major attractions like Universal Orlando and Icon Park, but it also has some areas that have seen better days. As you wander around International Drive, one thing that you might notice is that it's kind of a mixed bag. Some areas are a bit more polished than others. Other areas definitely are in need of some love. A lot of love, especially over where it all started, where Hamilton first invested in this idea all those years ago. Like other similar areas around the country and around the world, iDrive has to weather the ebb and flow of the times. Old has been replaced with new has faded into obscurity, and some areas are left waiting for the next thing to come along. And look, there's really no getting around it. Let's call a spade a spade. Some areas of International Drive are unsightly and rough around the edges, to say the absolute least. But there's always an opportunity to update and change and improve. And I'm hoping that especially with some of the changes that are on the horizon, or the additions that are on the horizon, specifically over in that Universal Orlando area with Epic Universe, that's the push that this area needs to improve. Still, I find places like this that stand the test of time, albeit on shaky legs, to be special in their own way. Yes, in need of improvement, in need of some updates, but still special. Not all that far down the road, we find ourselves in a more polished corner of iDrive, Icon Park. A relatively new addition to iDrive, Icon Park is a 20-acre entertainment complex that opened in 2015. It's the home of 9 feature attractions, an aquarium, Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, and so much more. But the icon of Icon Park is its 400-foot observation wheel known as the Orlando Eye. Now, I've been wanting to check out Icon Park for a while, and we definitely are going to have to come back and dig into everything that's here because there's a lot with the aquarium and the eye. But just wandering around, you can see how this could be a whole outing. There's places to eat, there's things to do. It's a really cool little spot. But look, while attractions like the ones you'll find here at Icon Park are a load of fun, everybody's gotta eat. And while there are a long list of places to grab a bite along iDrive, there are also some familiar favorites with a fun twist. Like our next stop, the world's largest McDonald's. Opened in 1976, this 19,000 square foot behemoth is more than just a fast food joint. With over 100 arcade games, a massive 22-foot tall play place, and a menu featuring unique items like brick oven pizza, Belgian waffles, and pasta, this place is practically an attraction in itself. We definitely have to get something ridiculous, right? Like, I'm not here to try a Happy Meal, so we're going for it. Look at this. Belgian waffle. I wanted to get one of those. We have ham, egg, and cheese French toast, sausage and gravy. Choose your toppings. All right, so the first thing to come to the table was this chocolate cake. This was like $6. I gotta tell you, it looks pretty good. It doesn't smell like much, at least not to me, but we're gonna give it a try. Had some very interesting cake experiences in the past year, so I don't know about you, but I just think that it's perfect to start off 2025 with a piece of McDonald's cake. So here we go. That is so peanut buttery and fudgy, but I didn't get any of the icing from the top, so I'm gonna take a little bit of that with another bite. I don't know what to tell you. This is a fantastic piece of peanut butter chocolate cake. So peanut buttery, very heavy, well worth the $6. So we've got pizza, we've got pasta, we've got Belgian waffles, and I'm starting with the pizza. We're gonna take a bite of this. Now this is brick oven pizza. It looks good. I think it looks fantastic. I mean, it's McDonald's, so the bar is pretty low, but pizza's pizza, right? Okay, that's really good. I mean, I really don't know what else to say. It's not super crispy or anything like that, but it's far from the worst pizza I've ever had. I really like this. So next, we have pasta. This is linguine with a bolognese sauce. It's fancy. It is really fancy pants. Again, for a McDonald's. The bar is low, but will this be as impressive as the pizza was? We'll see if I can get the noodles on my fork. Okay, here we go. I mean, I don't know what you want from me. It's great. Now it did come with what looks like a slice of just dry pizza. Not much to say there, but it will sop up sauce, so that's good. All right, last but not least, we have the Belgian waffle. So I got it with blueberries and whipped cream. You could have gotten it with strawberries or chocolate chips. It looks good. And you know what? So far, I can't complain about anything. So, high hopes for this one. It's not really a crispy waffle, but I think that that's a matter of personal preference. There's a little bit of crisp here. Let's see if we can get some blueberries. I did put some maple syrup on here. Oh goodness, it's a bit of a big bite, but we're gonna make it work. Now it is a little cold because it's been sitting here for a minute as I've been eating everything else. We did have to wait for Mac tonight to stop singing. Still, I think that this is pretty good. I really can't complain. I mean, it's a fluffy, delicious waffle from McDonald's. All right, I just made my way back outside because it's getting a little crowded in there, a little bit loud, but I just have to tell you, it was so great. Everything in there. It's such a big and exciting place. It honestly kind of feels a little bit like a Chuck E. Cheese, you know. Of course, you do have the McDonald's element, but then upstairs is the arcade games and the play place. It's a lot in there, and a lot of fun. Plus the food. The food was actually pretty fantastic, much better than I thought it was going to be, especially that cake and the pizza. Ooh, everything else was pretty good too, but those two items, they really stood out. I'll tell you what though, I absolutely love experiences just like the one that we had here today. Not only are they fun, they're exciting, but they straddle the line between something familiar and something kind of wacky, you know, like something you really want to do when you're on vacation. And that's really nice, especially for those of you who might be traveling with someone who, you know, they want everything to be unique and interesting. I don't necessarily agree with that perspective. You know, I don't think that everything needs to be transformative every time you travel, but places like this, they help bridge the gap a little bit and give you something exciting to do that isn't what you might be able to do at home, while still offering that familiar, safe option for family members, you know, especially if you have little ones or picky eaters. So yeah, definitely consider adding this one to your list. It's a lot of fun. So was Hamilton's idea a success? I'd say so. I mean, just look around. I don't know if anyone saw this coming. Then again, maybe Hamilton did. But let's get down to brass tacks. What's my take on iDrive? It's quirky, it's vibrant, and it's unapologetically touristy. Like other tourist hubs around the country and around the world, it's not for everyone. But if you lean into the fun, there's a whole lot to enjoy.